Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about notifications in GLPI. Now, notifications are probably one of the more powerful features of GLPI, but they're also pretty complex. Um, and in previous videos, I've talked about how GLPI has both a really compelling out-of-the-box base core and pretty significant customizability. And notifications are one of the aspects where this really, really shines. Um, However, the notifications that are included out of the box are uh, more of you can think of them as like a reference implementation, kind of an indication of everything that you could possibly do with notifications. So in this video, I want to talk through some of that. I want to give some recommendations for how to set up notifications on a brand new GLPI system. Uh, I'll actually be demoing on, it's not quite a brand new GLPI system. It's the system that we're using, and I have to add a couple of notifications. We do have some notifications in place. Um, but we're starting to use it more and more, and I just need to add some notifications. So this video will be part tutorial on how to get started with notifications, and part a little bit deeper dive into how I'm setting up these specific notifications, which I think will be helpful to give some context, because the reference implementation of just here is everything you can do with notifications can kind of feel like a fire hose. So but before we get started, there are some links down in the description below for some resources to contact us outside of this video. So if you have additional questions about notifications or about getting started with GLPI, you can join us either on our weekly users group call or in our Discord server. Either place, you can ask questions about GLPI, about notifications, or about anything else we do here at Synapse Software. So let me switch over to the demo screen, and we can see here we have GLPI, and I just went to the notifications section. This is under the setup menu. Um, and I will note that this is we're currently using GLPI 11 to get a feel for the beta before it actually finally gets released. But everything that I'm about to show you is the same. It might look a little bit different in GLPI 10, but all of the functionality is there. Um, of course, I have notifications enabled. I have email notifications enabled, and I've already set up my uh, email, my outbound email configuration in the email notifications configuration section. So the first thing that I recommend you do with a brand new GLPI system is first bump this up to, there are only 86 rows. I think out of the box there's something like 82 or 83. Um, but I recommend that you make sure that all of them are visible, select all, and update the field active to no. Now, I'm not going to do that because I've already done that on the out of the box ones, and I've already enabled a few that I want to use that are part of our process. And let me actually show you two different notifications so that you can kind of see the difference. So uh, first up, we'll look at the tickets notifications. And the first thing I want to draw your attention to is that for every single notification here, let me unselect all, every single notification here, you'll see the notification template is the one called tickets. There is one out of the box notification template called tickets that is basically everything you might want to know about a particular ticket. It is not very user friendly. It is not a great experience. Um, and it's really just intended to show you what is possible with a notification template. So let's look at the where is it? New ticket. So it's not unsurprising that you might want to send an email when a new ticket is created. So let's look at this notification. So of course you can see the name is new ticket. The type of entity is ticket. The event is new ticket. So when it was created, right? Allow response indicates that when this notification gets sent out, the recipient can respond to that notification, and that'll get attached to, in this case, the ticket. Um, so it allows, this back and forth communication between your GLPI system and your end users. Or, as we'll see, this also works with observers and assignees and anyone who gets an email from the system. So that's the basic information. In addition to that, you need to define a template, and then you need to define recipients. I'm going to start with recipients because it keeps us on this screen. And you can select basically any kind of type of group. Um, Group might not be the best way to describe it, but there are lots of different uh, classes of recipients that you can choose here. Um, and this is basically who the notification is going to. So you can see in the out of the box configuration, it's observer and requester. Now, as you'll see in our implementation, we actually have a different template that we want to send to an observer versus a requester. Again, this is when a new ticket is created. So in our case, we want to send an email to the requester saying, hey, we created your ticket in response to an email. For observers, we want to say, hey, you've been added as an observer to this ticket, right? Because they don't necessarily know that a ticket was created. So we have two separate notifications with two separate templates, and we have one with a recipient of observer, one with a recipient of requester. But here you can see some of the options. So administrator, entity administrator, right, and so on and so forth. Um, Profiles are a little bit interesting. Um, I'm not sure why you can select them, but maybe there is a use case. I'm actually going to use that in the second half of the video because it's convenient and it works, not necessarily because it's the right way to do exactly what I'm doing. It just works for the way that we have GLPI set up. And of course, exclusions. You can exclude certain profiles. If they're a read only, maybe you don't want to send an email to them because they can't do anything about the email, or I don't know. There might be a reason to do that. But then let's go into the template. So if we go over to the template, uh, and I'm just going to jump to template translations, the default translation, you can see here we have an email body in text and an email body in HTML format. And you can see there is a ton, an absolute ton of information in this template. And it really is intended to show everything you possibly can do. And don't worry about the fact that this is behind my face on where is it? Right here, right? You can go into your GLPI instance, you can see this template, and you can see just how much information is there. My recommendation is start a template from scratch and add in the tags that you need. So show list of available tags. You can search through here, and this list is extremely long. So if you want some context in what uh, each of these tags actually do, that's when it's useful to look at some of these out of the box templates. And you can see like let's see, the ticket title. So that's a label that is translated to whatever, ticket title in English, or, whatever the appropriate Spanish or French or German or whatever is. And then the actual ticket title is uh, hash hash ticket dot title hash hash. All of these tags are hash hash something and then hash hash to end it. And that's kind of in my opinion, the best way to look through the tags and figure out what exactly you want to use. So now let's look at a custom notification that I've built. So we're going to go back to notifications, and I'll scroll to the bottom, and let's say, so I added 4 custom ones. I used a naming convention that works for me. You use the naming convention that works for you. I added SS for Synapse Software at the beginning of all of the templates that we customized and used, um, so that I can see at a glance which ones are ours and which ones are the out of the box ones. And you can see these are enabled because we're actively using them. And you can see I've added a new ticket for requester, a new ticket for observer. I've also added one for a follow-up, um, which this one is intended to, let's just look at the configuration here. The recipient is observer and requester. And basically this is intended to, uh, what did I do this for this one? I think if someone sends in a follow-up, it notifies the observers and the requesters that there was some information added, or other way around. I think if an agent, um, well, let's look at the template because that'll show us. There are new messages. Yeah. So this indicates to the observers and requesters that their ticket's been updated, that someone has added some information to it from internally. Um, so I was confusing myself here. So requester and observer, uh, we have a separate template. You can see here, new ticket requester, new ticket observer, a separate one for the requester and the observer. Because like I said, let's look at the observer one. The template is you're now an observer on a particular ticket with some information about it. Because again, they might not have been made aware of what the ticket actually was. Maybe they were CC'd on the original email. Maybe this was created through the UI and there was no email that automatically added them to it. It was a manual addition of an observer. All right, so let's add some new notifications. So the two notifications that I want to add are one, when a new ticket comes in, uh, I want to notify um, kind of the administrators of the system. The second notification is that if a ticket gets updated, I want to notify the assignee that there's been an update to the ticket. Those are two things that we haven't added yet. So to start with, I actually find it easiest to go to um, the notification templates first and kind of think through what I want to say. The reason I do this is because uh, in some cases you might think same event, same information that needs to get distributed. Let's make one notification that goes to two different roles, um, recipients, that sort of thing. But once you start building the notification template, you realize that you actually want to say something a little bit different. The wording is a little bit different. And that's why, in the case of the new ticket event, I created a different template for observers versus um, requesters, because requester, they know they sent in a ticket. They know they logged a ticket. The observer might not know that a ticket was logged. They might not have any context on it. They need a little bit more information. And I want to say, oh, by the way, you were added as an observer to this ticket, um, so that they know they're an observer. They're a fly on the wall. If there's a question that comes up, they're not immediately on the hook to have to provide that information. So I want to communicate something different to them. So again, I've used a naming convention here on the notification templates, uh, just starting it with a something that's a visual indicator to me that this is um, this is something that I created. So I'm actually going to copy. Let's see. We'll start with the hey, by the way, there's a new ticket. Um, in which case, I'm going to copy the observer template. I'm going to start with the plain text because I usually make my email templates fairly simple. So the HTML body and the email body, or sorry, the HTML body and the plain text body look essentially the same. We'll go back to the list of templates. We'll create a new template. The name of the template will be SS This is new ticket to admins. It's actually going to be super admins, but I'll just call it admins here. Type is ticket. I'm not going to add comments. But now it brings us to the default translation. The subject will be new ticket. I'm actually going to add something. I think it's going to be that requester, and we'll say ticket dot title. We'll just paste this. Okay, so now I need to change some information. Uh, let's see, ticket, and then the number has been created. We'll leave the ticket title. Here's the description. Since I'm sending it to admins, I don't really care about saying hello because this is more an informational email. I don't need to be as conversational. Um, and let's make sure that we have the right tag for requester. Requester. We might have to do something a little bit different for this because you can actually have multiple requesters. It looks like ticket.authors, and I might actually just grab the first one. Oh, ticket.authors. We'll just grab that. And we'll just drop that in. New ticket from ticket.authors, ticket.title, right? Ticket.id has been created. Provide the ticket title. And let's just say authors and ticket.authors, right? Nothing fancy, something fairly straightforward. I'm going to use the same template for the text and the email. Yes, technically this does have some HTML formatting on it, but in an email client, like in my Gmail, it'll look exactly the same as the text body. With that, we'll add that notification template, and it tries to suggest that I add other templates, but you really just need the default translation. Let's go back to notifications and actually set up that notification. So we'll go to notifications, hit add, and we'll say, what is this? New ticket to admins, right? Allow response. It's with tickets, I recommend setting this to yes, just to allow the ability to send information back and forth. If you set it to no, it kind of prevents you from replying to the email and updating the ticket. Um, if you don't want to allow updates to tickets from email responses, then definitely set that to no. But in my case, I'm going to set it to yes, just in the off chance that I do want to send an email response back. Yes, this should be active. Type is ticket. And the event is, that's actually a bug in GLPI 11. That label goes away. New ticket, and everything else is fine. We'll apply it to the sub entities and add. All right, now let's go and add a template, and we're going to pick the one that we added. So this is new ticket to admins for email. We've saved it. All right, go back to the notification and let's add recipients. So in this case, it's actually going to be profile super admin. There's a difference between profile admin and profile super admin and administrator. There is one administrator for the GLPI system, and that's set in the um, email notifications configuration. So there's one email address for an administrator. But in this case, we want to send the email to anyone who is a super admin, again, because this will work for us, not necessarily because it's right. everyone who is a super admin in the entity where the ticket was created. So in this case, Synapse Software. So we'll just save that. And now we have our notification with a template with our recipients, and that will work. If you were to send a ticket to support@synapsesoftware.com right now, I would get an email because I'm a super admin on this system. Now, I also mentioned that we're going to add another notification indicating when a ticket has been updated. So let's go back to notifications, go back to, sorry, this notification templates. And again, create our template first. So create a template. We'll say, what is this going to be? It's going to be SS existing ticket, new update. Let's just say type is ticket, no comments, no CSS. Default translation is going to be update, update on ticket number, and then it's going to be ticket.id. And we'll grab that just so that we have additional context in the subject. Ticket.id has been updated. And I'm going to make some choices here. Right, there we go. Um, and this, we're actually going to have to do something a little bit different here. But for now, I'm just going to copy this, paste it down here, and save it because I actually need to go back to notification templates. Now I want to grab what I did for existing ticket new update. All right, so if you go to translations, default translation. Oh, that's the one I just went. That's the one I just created. Let's try that again. Okay, existing ticket new observer. Still not the one I want. Ticket follow up. That's the one I built before. Here we go. This is the tricky part right here. So when a notification template gets rendered, when these tags get filled with all of the information, you get basically the entire ticket object and all of its relevant pieces. Um, it does account for whether follow-ups are private or not. So if it's sending a notification to the requester or the observer, this timeline items doesn't include private updates. It only includes the public updates. Um, if you're sending a message to the admin or the super admin, obviously it includes all of the timeline items. But it is basically the entire ticket object and all of its relevant associated objects. Um, there's no way to just get the follow-up that caused this notification directly. The way to do that is to get the last one timeline item, like I have here. So for each last one timeline item, which is kind of cheating. And then I can say at timeline items dot date, so and so wrote whatever, end the for each. And that's exactly what I'm going to pull in to the other template. Actually, I'm going to pull in this entire template because I really like this template, which I could actually just use SS ticket follow-up on my notification. So I don't need another template. But for now, I will continue adding this new template just in case I decide in the future. I was too busy talking. I accidentally hit copy instead of paste. Let's try this again. All right, get the translation, copy, go back to notification templates, I'm going to update this one, default translation, select all, and paste. And similarly down here. All right, now save that translation. Now we can go back to notifications and create the notification. Um, so what is it going to be? It's going to be a add, let's see, I'm going to name it with my actual naming convention, existing ticket, um, follow up to, no, assignees, right? Allow response, yes. Active, yes. The type is ticket. And it's going to be new follow-up. Everything else is fine. The template we're going to choose is, again, I could use that existing template that I already had, but we're going to use SS existing template, existing ticket, new update, right? And add that. Now, our recipients, go back to the notification, the recipients are going to be the, what is it called? Requester, technician in charge of the ticket. There we go. And update, right? So assignees is now listed directly in recipients, but in this case, it's technician in charge of the ticket. So that's how we have those notifications set up. So I've just configured those two notifications that I wanted to configure. One, so that all admins get notified when a new ticket comes in, and one where the whoever is currently working the ticket gets notified if there's a new update. This was a longer video than I intended, but hopefully it gave you some clarity on how notifications work and how to set them up, and how to get started with them initially. If you have any questions about notifications, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. Or, of course, you can join our users group or our Discord server if you have more questions. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.